Welcome back, Golden Family. I'm excited for today's recipe because it's something you've probably seen several times before, but this is how I put my little spin on it. We're making chicken fried rice. It's just a classic hibachi side dish, and it's the perfect way to utilize leftover rice. Matter of fact, you actually want leftover rice because when it's a day old, it kind of dries up in the fridge, and then when you revive it in the fried rice, it absorbs all those beautiful flavors and gets a beautiful crust. For the vegetable portion, I personally prefer when everything is nice and thin. I like small pieces of onion, chicken, and whatever other vegetables you're gonna be using. Sometimes there's like long slivers or there's big chunks of vegetables, and I personally do not prefer that. I like when the rice and chicken is the highlight of the show, and then the vegetables are just a nice supplement. That being said, I'm gonna be using a white onion. I'm gonna simply dice it down, give it a nice slice in half. I already had this bag of pre-shredded carrots. Now this is optional and very up to you, but you could add cabbage. I just like a tiny little bit. You want very thin strips so they don't get in your way. I love when fresh cilantro just runs through every single bite. Just a little bit goes a long way. Now, one of my favorite things in a fried rice is some frozen peas. They just explode with flavor and have a beautiful sweetness to them. I think peas, carrots, and onions are the most essential vegetables in any fried rice. The rest is sort of up to you. Throughout the recipe, I'm going to be using a bunch of garlic. And if you didn't know, there's no measurements to garlic. You just use it until your heart's desired. What you can do is actually melt down a little bit of butter until it's like room temperature and still soft. You can mix in the garlic, the cilantro, a little salt and pepper, and it makes this beautiful compound butter. If you just roll it up and put it inside the fridge, but you have to let it set overnight. And then you could toss in coins of that butter throughout the fried rice. So if you have leftover compound butter and leftover rice, you always gotta make a fried rice. It's only right. See, now these are what I consider the perfect vegetables for my fried rice. And as I like to always say, it's always up to you. If you like other vegetables, add them. This is just what I love and what I think works best. Don't feel like cooking is so cookie cutter and like down to the T to every single thing. Remember, cooking is not a list of rules. For me, it's a way to express your happiness. For our protein of choice today, we're gonna be using some chicken thighs. Alternatives that are a little bit lower in calorie are shrimp and chicken breast. When I use chicken thighs, I just add a little bit less butter throughout the recipe. But this flavor profile goes great with shrimp. Anyways, nothing we do here is bland. Chicken thighs get some salt, cayenne pepper for a kiss of heat, crushed red pepper, onion powder, that's a lot of onion powder, and some garlic powder. And definitely don't be rude and forget to season the other side. See, now you know what? This is like the thick side of the chicken thigh, and over here is the thin side. I don't like that, and I want it to cook evenly and quickly, so I'm just gonna actually give it a nice little butterfly, I guess you would call it, just a little bit, just to, you know, stretch it out and even it out and flatten it out, and then I'm gonna reseason this. But yeah, no, that was kind of sporadic. I just wanted to do that real quick to show y'all, just to have even cook time and all that. Golden balance, why are you cooking the chicken thigh whole? Like, you know, the whole piece without slicing it up. Yes, chicken thighs are a lot more merciful, but I like to cook it whole to keep it nice, juicy, and moist. And then I let it rest after it's done cooking. Then I slice it up. Of course, you could do the opposite and reverse this process by cutting it up into pieces, seasoning it up and cooking them, and then removing them out the pan. This is just my preference. For this recipe and almost any fried rice recipe, you want to use a wok. We gotta let the wok talk. If you don't have a wok, you can easily use a non-stick stainless steel or cast iron skillet. Woks are almost built for this recipe, so if you have one, use it. This is a non-stick wok, so you don't want to heat it up too much. It's not cast iron, it's not stainless steel. So right when it gets hot, add your oil. I'm using a neutral peanut oil. A tip is to get the pan hot before adding the oil, just so the oil does not burn. And my chicken's been sitting out for half an hour before I actually cook it, just so it absorbs all those seasonings and it's room temperature so it doesn't, you know, tense up and scorch. Gently lay it away from you and hear a sizzle. See, it's not yelling for help or burning, but at the same time, it's getting a very nice crust. And we're starting to develop all that flavor on the bottom of the pan because we're gonna cook everything else in here. Remove the chicken when it's done cooking. Let's talk eggs. Now in fried rice, I really like a nice punch of egg, but I don't like when it's too much. I like doing 1 egg per 1 cup of cooked rice. If you want more, use more. I like to crack the egg inside the bowl and then give it a nice whisk before we actually add it to the pan. For the sauce, we're using 2 ingredients. Not only are we using a dark soy sauce, be very wary that regular soy sauce has a lot of salt. So if you want to control the salt levels, use low sodium. And what I like to add, which is my secret ingredient, is eel sauce. You can also add a little bit of hoisin if you'd like. Don't overdo it with the sauce or else the rice will become too strong in flavor and it will ruin everything else. You want almost like a light brown color on the rice. We have some leftover chicken fat. We're gonna add a little bit of butter. Onions take the longest to cook, so add them first. This goes by quick, so keep the heat high and definitely don't sleep on it. After 1 or 2 minutes, add your carrots. Make it well in the center. Toss in a little bit more butter. When melted, add your baby chicken. Let the egg cook just a little bit before mixing it in with everything else. I like to give it a nice little swirl in the middle. And it's okay if you get a nice crust on things. That just adds a bunch of flavor. Now mix it all up. I like to cook the raw edge off of the cabbage just a little bit. A whole lot of garlic. You can add ginger here if you like, but I don't like it. Let's defrost the peas. Add the roasted chicken in all its glorious juice. Add your day-old rice and break it down like you mean it. Keep on working the rice until it's not clumped up. Add the soy sauce. A tiny bit of eel sauce. And then let this crisp up for a couple minutes. And you can always add more butter if you don't care about the calories. Add your cilantro towards the end. I think it's very important to note to use day-old sushi rice. It's a short grain calrose rice. Although you can do this for other rices if you have them left over, but the preferred is sushi rice, obviously. And usually sushi rice has a little bit of, rice vinegar and salt and sugar. That's flavor. The bottom of the pan almost formed a beautiful crust on all those rice pieces. Just a hearty plate of chicken fried rice. I should be part of a competition how to plate like a 5th grader. You get the point though, it tastes really good. You could finish off with a little bit more fresh cilantro. I really love some toasted sesame seeds. And now we have final product. And as always, now bismillah. Thank you so much everyone for the love and support. I truly appreciate every single thing you've done for me. You've changed my life. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications so every time I post you actually get a notification. And have a great day. That was my first attempt. Come on now, let's go. Outro game strong.